Ladies and gentlemen, we are now 4-4, thanks in part to number 4. Let me just say to start off this video that it feels so good as a Skins fan to have a sense of security late in a football game, because even if he's made mistakes leading up to that final drive, we have a signal caller that is willing to give his playmakers a chance to win the game, even if it's put on the line. You saw that 50-50 ball he put up to Terry McLaurin, which really should have been a 100 zip ball, but he underthrew it just a tad, but still gave his $70 million receiver enough of a chance to do what he does best. This is what I've been waiting for. And it was against the Colts. It was Sam Ellinger's first start. It should have been a bigger blowout. Yada, yada, yada. Listen, we are in last place in the NFC East. We need every single inch and ounce of momentum that we can get. And even with Dallas on a win streak yet again, Giants just lost to the Seahawks. The Eagles, of course, they beat the Steelers, but we're not losing momentum is essentially what I'm getting at here. Like I said, we're 4-4 thanks to number 4. And man, I'm just realizing how competitive the NFC East is now, because just a couple short years ago, I made a video literally talking about how piss poor this division was, not just in terms of team quality and talent and personnel, but in terms of just combined overall record, which was at one point just way in the negatives. It's like my Call of Duty KD ratio back when I used to dabble in that sort of stuff. But over the past few weeks, I've really started to notice myself taking a bit more liking to Scott Turner's system, which I've been incredibly skeptical of, not just on this channel, but in general over the past few seasons, because of the way that our personnel has been schemed. And the most shining example of that, I think, is Antonio Gibson. He was a guy who I had, after his first 2 seasons in the NFL, looked at and said, okay, yeah, this guy has what it takes to be a true number 1 power running back. Then he had a few fumble issues here and there, and then Brian Robinson was drafted and was moved ahead of him on the depth chart. And of course, there was that tragic incident involving Robinson, which forced Gibby back into that starting role, which he didn't completely thrive in. But now with Robinson back, we can delegate him more to that receiving back type role and hybrid scheme that he played more so at Memphis in college, which is what he was initially drafted as. I believe he was listed as a wide receiver out of college. But again, his receiving ability, I remember the first throw from Taylor Heineke after the interception to Darius Leonard, or Shaq Leonard as he's now called. It had some great zip on it, and Gibson ran a great slant route. These are not things that normal running backs can do. Yes, if there's a lot of separation, but there was not a lot of separation. There was a very tight window in that zone coverage there that Taylor Heineke had to fit it in. And that was just one of his many great throws that he made on the day. Despite being under pressure, despite not always having people open, he created those opportunities. The 4th down conversion to Curtis Samuel on that drive. And of course, a lot of big plays to Terry McLaurin, who really, like I said, he delivered to us what I've been waiting to see for a while. But more on that, it's the consistent production for me that we have needed out of number 17 for the entirety of the season. And it's not that he hasn't been getting it. It's just that a certain person who I don't think I need to name has not been getting him the football enough. And we've noticed a different person whose name I also needn't list again, getting him the football a little bit more over these past few weeks. And that's what this offense needs. It needs to rely on its playmakers, and not just Curtis Samuel and J.D. McKissic, like I mentioned in the last video. When the offense becomes centered around those 2 pieces and those 2 pieces alone, it becomes way too predictable. And that's another thing that the return of Brian Robinson helps with. It just gives us another weapon to work with. And while there's still a few kinks to work out, I think, there is certainly some promise to be seen by what we saw today. Anyways, those are just my general thoughts on this game. Hope you guys were as fired up as I am. We've got a lot of momentum heading into next weekend that we're going to need at home against the Vikings and Kirk Cousins. Really hoping for a good game, although it is not in prime time, so there's a very good chance that we could get decimated, but I really hope that that is not the case. Anyways, let me know what you thought in the comments section down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Hail!